There's been a lot of fish caught on the California Delta this week. Unfortunately, a lot of those fish are on the smaller side. The bigger fish have been stingy. They're out there, but they're just not committing. So with that, before we get into the report, let's take a look at a few pictures. Then we'll go over some ideas and some strategies that you may be able to use this coming week and pull out some of those bigger bass. Let's take a look at these pictures. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. This is the weekly fishing report for July 3rd, and we're going to start off with our special guest, a man that really needs no introduction, Mr. Randy Pringle, the fishing instructor, and you have been running the BBT for what?
13 years.
13 years. So Randy, I got a couple questions for you. First of all, the overall health of the Delta, what are you looking at this year compared to the last couple years?
You know, that's a great question because there's a lot of good, clean growth, and that's what you like to see. There's a lot of green stuff. If you look down like White Slough, in and around the main body of the Delta, which I call in and around the central Delta, Mildred Island, all them stuff like that, you'll see it's nice and clean rocks. When you get clean rocks, those weeds can adhere to it, and the fish love it. And I think the Delta's never been so much health.
So kind of to build on that, we have a fishery that's got good, clean vegetation, and the water is looking, healthy. How do you feel about just the population of fish, and the health of the fish, and maybe talk a little bit about the size?
I'm seeing a lot of fish. I mean, last week, we probably caught 50, 60 fish, but they were in the 3.5, maybe a 4-pounder, but mostly at 3.5. And
that's a good day.
Yeah, and that's a good day. And so, yeah, you're going to get guys that are going to get the 10 fish, and they're going to weigh 20, 22 pounds. That's great day, but it's only 10 fish. And pros, and if you're going to come out here and fish and want to just fish, you want those 30 fish days. That's just enjoyable.
And catching those, I'll say 2.5 to 4 pound fish is just a lot of fun. You can use light equipment. You don't have to frog for them. You don't have to punch for them. Those are two deadly techniques. But if you're talking about somebody, or you want to give somebody a suggestion coming out on the weekend, they don't get out every day. They got one day to fish. Name a couple of baits, a couple of techniques, and just kind of what to look for out here. Are they fishing points? Are they fishing rock walls? Is it just the clean water? What should they be looking for?
So right now I see a lot of little bitty fish swimming around in packs, whether they're, your Delta smelt, whether they're some type of a little chub fish.
I
see them all the time.
I think they're small shad.
Oh, they could be.
Or fry. A lot of fry.
Yep, a lot of little bait fish swimming in little groups. And when that water starts to drop, in which people don't like low tide, me personally, fishing the technique I'm going to give you right now is one of my favorite on a low tide. Going out there and seeing that weed line and taking a spinning rod with 8-pound test fluorocarbon line, a little trilene, and when you throw that out there with a Zappu head, Z-A-P-P-U, Zappu. When you got that thing and you rig that General on it, it's a stick bait.
A Berkeley General.
Yeah, Berkeley General. So when you hook that thing, about a 70-30 is where I like to hook it. So when I'm hooking it, I don't hook dead center because then you got equal arms. I hook it just one-sided, fudge one side. Once you throw that out, you throw it right along the edge of those weeds and it'll drop down. It's money. And current. I want to have a little current in those areas.
So you're throwing that just like a wacky worm, but it's a weighted situation.
It makes it so much nicer. The Zappu rig has a weight that's a tungsten weight that's adhered to the side.
And I've used that General before. That's the scented Berkeley worm.
Yeah, and sometimes scented just is that one little step farther than everybody else.
Right. It rivals a Cinco. For those of you who are fishing Cincos, if you haven't tried the General, give it a try. And
well, it'll save you some money.
It'll save you some money, but I think it's just one of those things that a lot of people they think stick baits, they think Cincos, but That General is another good one.
It's a good one. The last one I'll tell you right now is my favorite right now this time of year, and it's on the deck of my boat, is an IMA finesse popper. Just throwing a popper in a shad color, I think you just can't beat it this time of year. Because of all that small bait fish, the fish are used to seeing a popper. Throwing it out there alongside, you can throw it in the trough where the weeds are, where the rocks and the weeds are, where you got that dead area, and pop it and let it sit. Just let it sit. Let it take course, and all of a sudden here comes Mr. or Mrs. Bass wandering over and going.
So that'll get you some fish. Other than that, how's the BBT going? What do you got going on the Delta? I know you got your mussel series going.
I got the Golden Mussel series. That's where pros and amateurs can come together and compete on the Delta, seeing how they can offend. A lot of places where the pros are just fish against pros, and a lot of places the amateurs just fish amateurs. I started this one because with a lot of those golden mussel problems on the surrounding lakes, the Delta has been one of those places that a lot of people like to come, and so this is where the pros and the amateurs can come together and fish a series right here.
And what's the easiest way for if somebody wants to get interested in the BBT, if they don't know how to check it out, what do they want to Google up?
Fishbbt.com.
Okay, and I know you got a great website. You keep it up to date.
Easy. Yesterday we had a tournament on the Delta. 26 pounds won it, and that was over at Big Break. We're here at Russo's today, and when we had that tournament, 6 minutes later, results were up after the tournament was over. I sat down, uploaded it, boom.
Good job.
Yep.
Good job. So with that, should we give them a little insight on a video we've been talking about for the last year
and a half,
how to choose a team partner?
And we're going to knock that out of the park, because we're going to look at our schedules and look for July, because we're working on our new lakes for the jamborees coming up. That's where we all pick our lakes for the up and coming years, and we're going to be looking at the schedule. We already submitted them, and then we're going to take that information, put the schedules out. Some of you guys out there might want to look for a partner, and we're going to talk about looking for a partner and how to fish with somebody you're not sure of.
And I'll tell you guys that are out there fishing team tournaments, you're not doing well. It's not your fault. It's the partner's fault. Randy's going to show you how to pick the right partner, and you're going to be up here cashing checks.
Remember, blame the other guy.
Blame the partner. It's never you. Thanks, Randy.
You got it, brother, man. Thank you
make a good partner, by the way.
You know what? Because of what I do, I like to see other people catch fish. It doesn't bother me. I used to say a long time ago, we're a team. If you're on fire, I'll have the net in my hand all day.
I like to see people catch 20-pound bags as long as I have a 20-and-a-half-pound bag.
Well, see, he's got a different story to tell you about that.
All right, let's get back into the report. And Randy, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
We will. We'll put that together.
Video. All right.
All right.
Thanks.
You guys have a great day.
Back to the report. Let's get into the rest of the report. This is the In Deep on the Delta weekly fishing report for July 30th. I want to thank Randy for taking a few minutes of his day and chatting with me. It's always great to talk to an old friend, especially when it's someone like Randy Pringle, when they have such an immense knowledge of the Delta. I also want to thank everyone who has been meeting me out here at Paradise Point or out at Russo's, wherever I've been, picking up some of the new merch that I have. And if you haven't heard, I've got a new logo, I've got some new sun shirts, I've got some new t-shirts, I've got some new hats. If you're interested in supporting the channel and picking up a t-shirt or a hat or something, give me a holler, scooper9561032@gmail.com. We'll get you set up, figure out how we can get a hat or shirt to you. So thank you guys for supporting the channel. With that, we're going to get right into talk a little bit about stripers, then we're going to get real deep into the largemouth bass. I've pronounced the striper fishing being dead probably 3 times this year, and every time I do, there seems to be a flight of fish that comes in and people start catching fish. So I'm not going to pronounce the striper fishing dead. I will say this. Central Delta, it is a grind to catch a striper right now. We'll leave that at that. The guys that are fishing Sacramento River and out around Liberty, they may be catching some fish, but boy, they're not talking about it if they are. So what I'm going to say, striper fishing is a grind. Most of the fish are out in the bay or the ocean right now. They will be coming back in a few weeks, and we'll start talking about stripers more when that happens. Right into the largemouth bass, river conditions. Water temperatures have risen a few degrees. We have been talking in the past couple weeks 73 to 75. Now we're looking at 75 and just inching up to that 76, 77 mark. I suspect that we're going to get that mid 70s, upper 70s within a week or so, especially if we keep getting this 95 to 100 degree temperature. Water clarity in the central delta is great. It's 3 to 5 feet. I know the guys down south are saying that it's a little bit murky down there in spots, but all in all, the vegetation is in good shape. Water clarity is good. Temperatures are good. Everything looks like the delta is ready to go. It hasn't broken open. The fishing has been good, but the bass fishing has never really this year so far broken open, wide open. And I think it's just going to be a little late. I'm hoping it's going to be a little late. Tournaments going on. Let's go over those tournaments, then we'll get right into the report. We've got the Monday night Lunkers tournament. I think last week I was saying that was a Tuesday night tournament. No. The Lunkers tournament is a Monday night tournament. It's a evening tournament, 3 to 9 p.m. I'll get their information up. Steve is the director, and I keep saying Steve and I are talking about getting together so he can give you a face-to-face rundown on how he's running that tournament, what he's looking for, so on and so forth. And if you're ready to fish a Monday night tournament, that Lunkers tournament might be the one for you. Last week they had 17 boats. Josh and Gordon won with 17.4. They had a big fish, Larry and Angelo. The team of Larry and Angelo had the big fish. That was an 8.1 kicker. And we'll get some more information on those Monday night tournaments as it starts rolling down the line. BBT had 2 tournaments last week. One on Saturday out at Big Break, one on Sunday out at Russo's. The BBT on Saturday was their general BBT tournament, and that tournament consisted of mostly weekend tournament anglers. The tournament on Sunday was an open tournament, the Golden Mussel Circuit, and boy, they had some big sticks out there on Sunday, and check out these results. BBT Saturday, about 40 boats, 26.5 pounds to win. That's Zoan and Yolan. I hope I pronounce your names right, but congratulations, Zon and Yolan. They had the 26-pound bag. Midfield was about 13 pounds, 12 to 13 pounds. Now Sunday, the heavy hitters were out there. They also had about 40 boats. Different day, different conditions. Only took 21.9 to win. Congratulations to Mark and Juan, Mark Gomez and Juan Acosta. Another tournament victory out here. They also had the big fish at 6.5 pounds. Now, 2 different days, 2 different situations, and it just goes to show you the day that they're out here means everything. Maybe better tides, a lot less activity on Saturday than Sunday, so on and so forth. The winners for Saturday and Sunday said that they had caught about 8 fish all day long. The winners, that was for Saturday. Now, the winners for the Sunday tournament, same thing. Juan and Mark said they caught 7 or 8 fish all day long. And Juan and Mark said they caught 2 of their fish on their last stop on the way in. So what I want to get at is even the folks that are winning these tournaments, they're not putting a ton of fish in the boat. They're putting the right fish in the boat. But 2 guys fishing a 6-hour day and you're only catching 7 or 8 fish, that's less than an hour, less than 1 fish per hour. Juan and Mark caught a lot of their fish on frogs. Saturday's tournament was won with Cincos. So everything is working out here, whether it's a bottom bouncing bait, whether it's a frog or a topwater bait, whether it's a crankbait, a chatterbait, everything seems to be working. The trick is going out, finding an area that's not getting hit too hard, and fishing the proper bait for what's in front of you at that time. If it's punch water, you definitely want to be punching. There's big fish coming in punching. There's big fish coming in on frogs, but it has been kind of not, it just, for that frogging, punching, what the Delta is known for, it's not kicking into high gear. A lot of fish are coming up after frogs, but everyone I talk to, for every fish they catch, they're missing several fish, and for every big fish they catch, they're catching a lot of smaller fish. So that's kind of what's going on with the tournaments. I have been out almost every day, and I'll tell you, I'm head hunting right now, thinking it's time to go out and get a trophy. So this week I've switched over to bigger baits. I've been getting up at 3:30 in the morning. I've been fishing from dark until sunlight and into that change of light. And I can tell you, I have been paying my dues, and they must be last year's dues because it's not paying off this year. I might have to increase my dues a little bit. The fish for me on the bigger baits have not been responding. I'm throwing big walking baits. I'm throwing big wake baits, and I'm looking for that one fish. Remember, I'm not a tournament guy. I'm not going out trying to catch a bunch of 4 and 5 pound fish. I'm looking for those fish, hopefully over 7 or 8 pounds. You got to put some skin in the game, and so far I've got a lot of skin in the game without a lot to show for. Hoping in the next couple weeks the fish will be responding to some of those bigger baits. With that being said, I have had a couple fish that have come up, showed themselves, swiped at a bait that I think are really big fish, and that's what's kind of keeping me in that game. Fishing hard before the sun comes up to try to get those bigger fish. As soon as the sun comes up, I switch over to smaller baits like Ricos, bubble walkers, whopper ploppers. And there is a decent morning bite. I have been fishing mostly mornings this week. I have not been fishing the evenings. The guys that have reported they've been out on the evenings, there's also a good evening topwater bite. It's sometimes 15 or 20 minutes. It has not been that hour and a half, crazy bite, but there is a good morning topwater bite, a good change of light evening topwater bite. Once I've seen that bite dissipates, it gets into a grind, and you've got to take those topwaters off. I've been forcing them on topwaters. It hasn't worked, but when I finally get fed up with the topwaters and I put a worm on and I start slowing down, or I put on a chatterbait, I'm able to pick up fish through the day. With that being said, I have a new bait that I have been using, and it really in the last week or so, it's been my go-to bait once the fishing has come down to a grind. It's a finesse bait. I'm going to be doing a review on this bait here in the next couple weeks, and I think it's a bait that you're going to maybe want to take a look at and try out here because it's been working for me, and I think as I get to know this bait better and I get to fish it a little bit more and get more acquainted with it, it's going to be a solid producer out here. We'll talk about that bait in a couple weeks, so hopefully maybe in a week, maybe 2 weeks before I get that video out. With that being said, you definitely want to be throwing frogs. Fish are responding to the frogs when they're being thrown, but it's a bit of a grind, but you'll get a big fish on a frog. The guys that are punching are they're not happy with their results. I'm going to say that. They're catching fish, but a lot of the smaller fish, and it's just not that punch bite that we know can happen on the Delta. But if that's your game, you want to definitely start putting on that punch rod and fishing these mats. As the water temperatures start to warm up, they're going to be looking for that shade, and I think the punch bite is going to come on, along with the frogs. All of the reports that have been coming in, and I want to thank everybody, I'm getting a ton of reports. Everybody seems to be catching fish, but they're smaller fish. A lot of the 1 to 1.5 to maybe 2 pound fish, if they get lucky, they're getting a 3 pounder. So don't feel bad if you're wading through a lot of small fish and getting a very few of the fun fish over that 2.5 pound size. A lot fewer fish over 5 pounds have come in the last week. I still think a lot of the big females are recovering from post-spawn. Most people are talking about throwing small crankbaits, worms, and chatterbaits to get the numbers of fish. Another bait that's come up from time to time is a jerk bait, which generally is not associated this time of year with the Delta, but a jerk bait will get you some fish, and that'll get you bit. A lot of these fish are chasing small bait. They're chasing fry. By the way, there are a ton of fry out here. The bass have had a good spawn this year, and they're starting the largemouth fry garters are starting to turn into fry chasers and fry eaters. The big fish are out there chasing the little fish. So that's what's going on with that. We do have a 3-day weekend. It's going to be really crowded out here. You guys have probably all heard about the situation out at Discovery Bay, where there was a little bit of river rage, and there's a guy in a boat trying to run over another guy on a jet ski. Keep your cool. Try to work together. I know it's going to be frustrating for both bass fishermen and skiers out there. So just keep your cool. Celebrate the 4th of July and be safe. It'll be a reset weekend this weekend. Next week I'm going to be out hitting it hard Monday morning, and I'll have a great report for you, and I'm hoping that my fun, I'm not going to say work, but my fishing fun that has not been that fun in the last week when it comes to catching a big fish is going to turn around, and I'm going to be able to talk to you guys about how I caught a great big giant by next Thursday. If not, I'm going to be pissed. Anyhow, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week. Good luck.